What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Today, we are going to do our 2025 Women's VNL predictions. We are going to pick our 18 to number 1. My name is Everett Delorme from Toronto. That is Rob St. Clair from Chicago. This is not the 81 square meters of the best volleyball on the internet. This is just a prediction video, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Rob, how you
It will
feeling
be
today?
fun.
How you doing?
I love that we're doing this, and then we'll be able to revisit it after the VNL when we give out some letter grades, which we do every year. But I am not confident. I am not confident about these picks. This is going to be impossible.
Well, as I was making my list today, and I have 4 different lists.
Whoa.
Well, the first one is a definite no. The first one is a definite no. The second one is the last 2 are like different ways that I can go with it. But there's just so much uncertainty about what teams are going to bring. Like, are they going to bring their studs? Are you just going to bring a junior team? How many weeks are they going to play? There's so many little things to take into account when doing this. So yeah, I have 4 different lists. Really only 2, but still.
That's fair enough. I thought about mine for a long time and like how I wanted to, like what assumptions I wanted to make as I'm going to rank these teams, and kind of what I settled upon is I assume that at least after week 1, like starting week 2, these teams will put something out there that resembles their best possible roster. If that doesn't happen, then so be it. But I would have to assume, I mean, I don't know about you ever, but to me, there's a very clear bottom 6 here. And that I think that's where I assume we're going to start first. But that bottom 6 has no choice but to play their entire rosters to try and not get relegated. After that, it just gets way more interesting about who's going to play who and when. So I kind of assumed that week 1 would be the one kind of throwaway week for the good teams, and that they would start bringing everyone else after that. Maybe that happens. Maybe it won't.
Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. It's just there's so much uncertainty. I did take a lot of that. I think I took a lot into account into my list of like who was retiring, right?
Okay.
Like what impactful players are leaving said roster, and how is that going to impact things? I think there's so few athletes that when we look at them that we think like, hey, this athlete is super young and that they're going to come up and make a massive impact. Like this is the year that we're going to figure all of them out. We just don't know what we don't know yet.
Exactly. Yeah, there are some gaping holes in some rosters that definitely affected my picks too. But like, for example, like Egonu for Italy, Vargas for Turkey, Bošković for Serbia. Like after week 1, I assumed that all 3 of those athletes would be like pretty regularly in the mix.
I would assume for Egonu and Vargas, I have a feeling Bošković won't be there.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe not. I don't know. Serbia, I think, is one of the great wild cards in this entire tournament. I mean, remember how bad they were last year without her?
But are they going to have her or not? They have her on the roster, but is this going to be a Namir situation where he's on the roster, but she maybe has already decided that she's not going to play? Well, regardless, Rob, I think we should get this going. Let's start at the bottom. Let's start down at the bottom of that list. Who do you think is going to get relegated? Who do you think will finish in that 18th spot? I'm going to tell you mine. It's Korea. And if you watched our women's prediction at all, there should be no surprise at all that I've picked Korea.
Yeah, I also have Korea. So not a whole lot of surprise there with just the product that team has put out on the floor the last 3 VNLs has just been so completely embarrassing. I don't necessarily think they're going to be as abysmally bad as the 2 0-12 years, because now they do have pressure for the first time. Like now they can and very well might get relegated. And last year under this coach, this new coach they brought in, they did win 2 games. I mean, there were a lot of other teams that also kind of tanked last year with no relegation, but this team's just so bad and they have absolutely no weapons. So some of the bad teams at least have point scorers. They at least have a little bit of size. They at least have a little bit of physicality. Like I really I think that bottom group of 6, in no particular order: Thailand, Belgium, Czech Republic, France, Bulgaria,
we're doing the particular order. We've already done that bottom 6 yesterday. Like let's just focus in on this.
Korea, I think, is like a significant step worse than all those other teams. Like only one of those 6 teams I think has a chance to get relegated. I think Korea is noticeably worse. And I actually, Everett, I went as far as
6 teams. What's one at a time here? One at a time here.
And I have them going 0-12. I picked everyone's record as well.
You picked everyone's record. I didn't do that.
I did.
There's no way. There's no way I was doing that. They did win 2 games last year, so maybe they'll win 1, but they have to prove it to me that they belong, and I truly don't believe that. So I think we've already spent too much time talking about them. 17. Who's narrowly going to miss out?
I have Czechia.
Same.
Okay.
It's just it just makes the most sense. I mean, of the teams coming in this year, like Belgium has been there before, and Belgium has a legitimate star in Britt Herbots. In terms of like who do they have? Orsova's like I really don't.
Roser's wife, and I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think this will be a really good learning experience for the Czechia women. I do believe that they belong to be there, but like we know how much of a beast VNL is. We know how much it takes out of you, and we've seen teams who've come in flying and just fall right away. And I think Czechia hands down is going to be 17.
I think the Turkish men last year is a great example. Like that country came in with some talent. They went 1-11. Like it is no joke, no matter how prepared you are to jump into this competition. But I think the bad teams on the women's side are like substantially worse by comparison to me than the bad teams on the men's side, just because they lack the athletes. I think Czech at least has a couple of athletes. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right. It's 16. I've got France.
Oh, you went France. I went Belgium.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. I think that, I think Belgium has some nice young pieces. I do think that you have an elite scorer in Britt Herbots, but Britt Herbots has proved that she's no longer Britt Herbots, right? She's no longer that top scorer that we've known her to be. She's no longer, the one of the elite scorers in the world. There's just no way to say it. No other way to say it. Like we saw a bit of a glimpse at a few times this year with Scandici, right? Yeah, and I really need to see some other talent step up from the Belgian women's team. And I mean, they didn't even win the Challenger Cup last year, right? They lost to Czechia. So
they might have lost to Czech in the semis. Yeah, not good.
Right. So I think that they're going to be decent. I think that Herbots might steal them a game or two, but once again, I think that they have a little bit more know-how than Czechia, but still not that much.
Okay, yeah. On the France side, I like you have that one left side, that one elite level like Italian league left side. For Belgium, it's Herbots. For France, it's Elena Cazot. Herbots at least is a point scorer. Cazot is a damn good volleyball player, but she won't be able to fulfill the same role on a terrible team that Herbots can, in my opinion. Now, Jikel is probably a better opposite than most of Belgium's options, but I really struggle to see point scoring for France unless Cazot plays every point of every match and gets like 50% of the volume. I just don't.
Why? Jikel is a legitimate scorer. Like she can put the ball away. She's in my opinion, she's hands down the number one option offensively on that team for sure. No doubt about it.
Jikel's a nice player.
No, I think nice she's no. She's technical. Like she can handle volume. She can hit shots. Like especially when she was at her best this year with Chieri is when Chieri was at their best as well too. Now there is a little bit of a longevity thing there, but there was so much volume going on, just her and Avery Skinner. So I think Jikel can do it. But then also too, you also have Juliette Gélin, who I thought was
great
down the stretch in the second half of the Lega Volley Femminile. She was hands down the best libero in my opinion in the league. So I think you have a few more pieces on the French side. I think in my opinion the fillers, like those who fill in the gap, are a little bit better on the French side too, especially when you're looking at the strength of the French league comparatively to the Belgian league and all of those things. So I think France is going to do a little bit decent, but that's why I have them at 15.
Okay.
Yeah, not that much. Yeah, it's not that much better.
At 15, I have Thailand. Not that much higher than our bottom teams here. Just we talked about it in our preview. They get the legendary coach back who kind of created the program, retired in 16, all that. But like what we've seen from Thailand at least the last 2, if not the last 3 years, has been like borderline embarrassing. Like last year, they hosted the VNL finals, so they got a bid. They got donged immediately. The year before that, they hosted, I think it was week 3 at home, and went 0-12 in sets.
Yeah.
So this similar thing to what you said about Korea. Like I need them to prove it to me before I can put them any higher than this or give them a whole lot of respect.
Well, so the thing is, for me, I have Thailand at 14.
Okay.
And I actually think that they might actually, of all of these teams, I think that they have the ability to make maybe a deeper run than any of the other ones. And the reason I think that is this because you have the nostalgia factor of the legendary coach coming back, but you've also got the majority of this team coming back too. These are all athletes who know each other and know each other well, right? It's going to be kind of like opening up the door to an old dressing room and seeing all your teammates' faces. Like there's going to be a lot of good vibes on that team. And especially when you look at how Thailand plays the game. Like they're really detailed and they have a lot of ball control and they keep the rallies aligned and they have a really good offense. I see them being able to click that at a high level. Most of the teams they're going to be playing aren't going to be playing at their highest level. They're still going to be figuring things out. And that's why I think, especially in the first half of the VNL, Thailand is actually susceptible to be able to get a few just a few upsets just based off of chemistry, just based off of knowing how they play each other, just based off like, hey, they might go out there and if they play like a young I don't know who they play in week 1. I did no research on that.
Poland,
side of
Belgium, Turkey, France. That's actually another thing that I looked at is who they play and who they don't. Thailand does not play Korea. They don't get that free win.
So, but like you get to play Poland and Turkey in the first week when they're not going to have their studs. And you get to play, was it Belgium and France as well as they're still figuring things out? Like also too, like especially Pornpoon, who's going to be leading that offense. She's coming in with some good vibes after winning with Orlando this year. So I actually have Thailand. I know I have them low, and I apologize. I know I had it different I said something different in my predictions to now, but I do think that they have the potential of upsetting some teams, especially early.
So the early point is spot on. That is where they've had their most success in the last couple of VNLs because they have that historical chemistry and because their play style is kind of different than everyone else's. It's like not a team that you're used to seeing, and they're like a little bit trickier to scout for, especially in the early weeks when teams are really more focused on their own sides of the net versus who they're going to see. But then later in tournaments is where Thailand typically crashes and burns, and their schedule in weeks 2 and 3 is very difficult. So I agree that week 1 is going to have to be where they do their damage. I've got them at 3 and 9. I've got them beating both Belgium and France in week 1. I've got them beating Czech in week 2.
Okay. We'll yeah, I could see that.
14, I have Belgium, who we already talked about.
Belgium all the way up at 14. Okay.
Yeah. And then 13, I have Bulgaria. How about you? Who you got at 13?
Oh, I messed up my list hard.
Uh-oh.
I had Bulgaria at 16.
Oh, really? Did you like write Bell instead of Bull?
Yeah, I just look because I yeah.
Okay, so Bulgaria at 16. Then where's Belgium?
Like everything is just bumped down. Like it's just it goes Bulgaria, Belgium, France, Thailand.
Got it.
I just think that like we saw Bulgaria last year in Arlington, and I don't know if they've really got anything going on there. Like
so last year they literally tanked the tournament. When they learned that they couldn't get relegated, they did what all the good teams are doing this year because they had no chance to go to the Olympics. They gave everyone time off. Now everybody
they don't even have any.
They have enough. They have enough of like Vuchkova is a gnarly middle. Like Vasileva is legit left side, like veteran scorer left side, and then this Nikolova girl who we actually saw last year was their entire team. She can play. The lefty, she can actually play. Like
but she's
of the bad
young.
Teams, she's real young.
She's young.
She's young. Of the bad teams, I definitely rate Bulgaria the highest. Not that they're good.
I disagree with that.
Fair enough.
The more I think about it, I stand firm with them at 16. I apologize to everyone else over there.
Okay, so is the list on the screen correct for yours now?
Yeah, that is correct for me.
Got it. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to say that much good things about Bulgaria, but I think they're good enough not to get relegated. I actually have them 5-7.
5-7.
Yeah, I think they win 5 games.
Now, Moonax, I didn't make my list while drunk. I read the wrong thing. Bulgaria and Belgium were right beside each other. I looked at it out of the corner of my eye, got excited. Okay, jeez.
All right, let's move out of these terrible teams. Who do you got at 12?
I have the Dutch.
Okay, I actually also have the Netherlands at 12.
I just think that, like, I'll be very honest. After finding out what I've found out, which I will never tell you, the Dutch making it to the Olympics. Well, I've already told you. But I'll never tell anyone else. The Dutch making it to the Olympics was much more Canada shooting themselves in the foot, as opposed to, in my opinion, them actually fully, earning it. And then they went out there and got pretty much slapped around. I just don't see. I think they've got some decent things. Like the sum of their parts is much better than anything below them. No doubt about that. Not being said that they can't get upset by any of these teams, just depending on who they're going to be bringing week in and week out. But yeah, I just, there's nothing that gets me jazzed up about this team.
Me neither. I have nothing more to add. That's an excellent summary for the Dutch. Who do you got at 11?
At 11, this is where I'm going to piss some people off. This is where people get mad. I have Japan.
Ooh, okay.
So
I have Japan at 10. I'll spoil it.
Okay.
I've got them at 10.
I think that Japan is really going to struggle to score without Serena Koga this year.
Agreed.
I think that she was incredible last year. I mean, she's the reason that they won a medal. And I think that team needs to figure out a little bit of their identity, and they're going to be going through a lot of these things. And now, I just look at the teams above them. I think everyone else is bringing a little bit more to the table than they are. And especially now, having seen, like, I actually watched a little bit of the Japanese Women's League this year and got to see some stuff. And, you're seeing some somewhat average Americans kind of dominate that league. Yeah. And, in no way saying that like Breon Butler or like Mackenzie May are average, but I think Butler is on the VNL long list, but I don't think Mackenzie May is. Mac May is. So, yeah, I just don't really see like that league was dominated by foreigners, and without a few of their pieces, like I think without Koga, who's really just that one special piece that everyone else was able to rally around, I just don't really see them having enough to take down much of the teams higher above them.
I agree with a lot of those points. Also, the Ferhat Akbaş effect really does not bring me a lot of confidence.
No, it doesn't.
Really doesn't. Like, not only has he been kind of a dumpster fire most of the places that he's gone. I mean, didn't he coach Croatia when they got relegated out of VNL?
He did, yeah, he did.
And then Zaja Basha has been an abject disaster. He got fired in the middle of this season, and the Japanese style of game is absolutely nothing like anything he's ever worked with before. They have a high floor just because they're so skilled, but kind of like you said, the teams above them really bring so much more that just Japan needing to spend so much of their resources figuring themselves out. I don't see really a way that they make the playoffs this year.
No, and I do have faith that the Japanese program will make it back. I think that this is just going to be a down year for them, and yeah, they're going to have to figure out who's going to be essentially their leading scorer and who leads them.
Probably Mayu Ishikawa.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, they have Ishikawa. I don't think Inui is on the roster.
She's not.
She was the one who basically decided that she wasn't good enough to play against international competition, which is wild. So yeah, I just think that there's a lot of things to be figured out. And going down to Farhad Hakbas, I think he has very little game feel. Like his in-game feel for who is doing well and who is doing what. And I think that was one of the big things for the Japanese women last year, is that even when Koga wasn't happening, they were able to move some things around and switch some things in and out. And we just never really, I don't have faith in Farhad Akbash to do that.
Me neither. Everett, I apologize.
Sorry, I apologize. Hayashi.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry to you that I'm going to put I have Canada at 11.
You bitch.
I have Canada 11. I will say that my 11, 10, and 9 teams, I have them all going 6 and 6. So they're basically all the same. It's going to come down to tiebreakers. I think that Canada's ceiling is way higher than Japan's. Canada's floor is lower. Canada's floor is lower than Japan's.
We're going to steal a few games, I think, at a certain point, but we're also going to lose games that we have no business losing.
Exactly. And that I completely agree. And you actually play Japan the third match of the tournament, which I'm really interested in. Without Alexa Gray to have that secondary scoring outlet next to Kira, plus whoever is passing the ball for Canada, I am really concerned about.
Yeah,
I can see a version of it in my mind where that team is incredibly one-dimensional, because I love Emily Maglio. I do not see.
I think there's a lot of versions in my mind where I can see where this team is very one-dimensional. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what Guidetti can do. Right, like I'm really interested to see what he can figure out on the left side.
Trust him a hell of a lot more than Akbash, for the record.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Chemi, it's not necessarily a passing of the torch, because there's no one to necessarily pass the torch to.
Alexa just needs a break, and that's okay.
Alexa's going to be fine. Like, I'm not worried about it. But when I talked to Guidetti in that interview I did for Volleyball World, that I don't know if is ever going to come out, and I might just release it on my own.
You should.
I'm honestly thinking about it. Who knows? He specifically told me that one of his things that he needed to do was figure out a P2, was figure out a secondary left side. Because he said, this is a team that has 4 fantastic players. You've obviously got Alexa, you got Kira, you have Brie, and you have Emily. And that next person, the comparison he used, he's like, we need to find a Gabi. And I was like, come on. Like, whoa, Giovanni. Yeah. And I was like, bro. And then he was like, no, but like, to be honest, I think at this point I am just going to, like, the interview was so good, it was so electric, I think I might just put it out as well. But
I'm so excited for you to get to hang out with them in Ottawa. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, it will be interesting for sure. But yeah, I we'll see how that goes.
Yes, honest, I've got Canada.
Honest, I have them at 10 as well, unfortunately.
You have Canada at 10? Okay.
Yeah.
I've got my United States at 9.
How? That's egregious.
Got my United
Do you watch volleyball?
Got my United States just missing the playoffs.
In what world do you think that is wild? Ninth?
Yeah.
No, that is
6 and
honestly,
6.
Are you trying to be like, are you trying to get shipped off by Trump?
Oh no.
Seriously, you're gonna end up like we like at a certain point, like Rob is gonna be in El Salvador after this. Like, what is going on? 9th?
Go ahead, keep it going. I'll give my defense.
Give me a good reason. I'm gonna tell. No, I don't even tell you where I have them on my list.
I'm curious to see. This is the most first year team of all first year teams. There are so many pieces not a part of this VNL roster, and there is.
I'm just gonna let you dig this hole.
It's fine. There is such a flexibility here to get 9th and have that be completely fine that I'm completely not concerned. I would not, if they get 9th, I will be perfectly fine. I do not care at all about the results, the win-loss record of either USA team in this VNL. I want to see growth. I want to see new bodies. I want to see as little of Jordan Poulter and Avery Skinner as possible. I want other people to be in the mix, getting serious international minutes against good competition. That's what I want. That's what I hope. And that's what, if I had to guess, that's what this team will actually do. with Eric Sullivan. I don't think he's going to lean on the players that have been there before. I think that he's going to be given the leash by the federation to make this a youth movement and take that seriously and use the luxury of hosting the Olympic Games to do that this VNL. This is the time to run stuff like that. I have the USA going 6-6. And if we won 6 games with the roster that I hope we mostly bring and lean upon throughout this tournament, I'm going to be pretty pleased with it. There are other teams with a lot more pressure and a lot more expectations to perform and a lot more Olympic caliber talent than we're bringing to this tournament. And that is okay.
But all I'm going to say right now is this: what is Olympic caliber talent? Just because a player went to the Olympics with another team doesn't mean they're automatically in this upper echelon of athlete. How many of these athletes, and this is the only question, how many of these athletes do you think could have made Olympic rosters last season?
What, this American long list?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now. How many of these athletes
make Olympic teams on our roster or other rosters?
No, other rosters.
Oh man,
that's like we don't need to discuss it. That's my only question for you. We can move on. That's absolutely psychotic. I'm questioning everything you've ever said to me now. I also know that you're just trying to game this. I also know you're just trying to game this. Exactly. It's your strategy to try to game the system, to try to be like, oh, I think this team is going to go bad, and oh, look, I'm so surprised that they're doing not bad.
6-6 is not bad. I would be very.
That is crazy. That is
very pleased with 6-6.
Asinine. I think that you have the USA there. Wild. Okay.
Be very pleased with 6-6 if they lean upon the roster strategy that I think they will, and I think that they should.
Oh yeah, because that's worth anything.
It's not, but it's my pick. And that's
a guy who's never coached before. Yeah. This my roster strategy is what this team should pick.
It's my pick. My pick. I can pick it however I want.
This
is
you got at 9. Oh, I have a toss up at 9. I really do have a toss up at 9.
This is the edge of the playoffs versus not, so pick carefully.
I think that at 9 fuck. Okay, one of these teams is going at 9 and the other one's going at 8.
Whatever happened to writing this down?
It is written down, but I've just this is one of the few differences between my third list and my fourth list that I'm still not 100% sure on. That's it's this crutch right there.
Put it on the record.
I'm going with it. I'm gonna go a homer version of this one. I'm gonna have faith in our Norseca sisters. I'm going to go Germany at 9, Dominican Republic at 8.
Okay.
I really like what this German team is doing. I really like Pia Kostner as the setter, right? Yeah, she's the setter. You've got Stigrot, you've got Alsmeyer, you've got Orthman
back.
So you've got pieces. I'm just entirely sure if they're going to be used kind of in that way, and you still got some things to figure out. I think their opposite position is really going to be interesting. Do you go with a 3 outside hitter, or do you stick with having a typical Osterman or opposite? Who was it? Kosterman last year? That lefty who had played for Jacksonville State.
That's right.
Or whatever. I think that Germany is going to be pretty good, but I just think that there's just a little something missing. And then I look at the Dominican Republic. They struggled in the VNL last year because they had brought out some wacky lineups. They were all over the place.
Oh, yeah. They practically threw it just to kind of get that bottom of the roster filled for the Olympics, and that's totally fine. They made it out of pools
100%.
at the Olympics. They played perfectly well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that the Dominican is just a team that, they're big, they're physical. You've got the majority of their team back. Like, they're a team that know each other. So there's not much change over there. So I think that reason that they're going to be able to, much like Thailand, just kind of win games sometimes out of chemistry and familiarity. And then just also just pure physical talent. Like, has to be said, one of the most physical teams in the world. I think that they're going to be able to, I think that they can make a push to the playoffs.
So just to add to the discussion on those same two teams, I have Dominican 6, Germany 7. I have them both going 7 and 5.
Stick. What are we at? What are you at here, Ned? Like, don't be doing this stuff. What are you at? 8.
8. I have China. I have China at 8. Also at 7 and 5, actually. But I just wanted to add some things to those two teams. Germany plays fast. That offense that Pia Kaestner sets is fast. Yeah. They need to be in system for it. But their at least two middle attackers are sick. Like Weitzel and Schiltzel are as good as any middle pair really in the tournament. And the right side attacking presence I'm definitely interested in. But the highs for Germany are very high. The highs for the Dominican Republic are even higher. That physicality is pretty special. And they've got just enough young blood that I think that they can fit in. That I doubt they're going to play that much of anything that resembles a bench. And I do think that they'll be able to take care of the teams that are.
They never play the bench.
No, they really never do. And they're
Dominican Republic volleyball, baby.
They're so similar to Cuba and the Cuban men in so many ways. It's insane. They're going to take care of many of the teams on our right columns here, just on physicality alone. So I've got them in the playoffs, losing in the quarters. And then I have China at 8, also making the playoffs barely, but losing in the quarters. And that's just because even if Li Yingying plays the tail end of this tournament, she's going to be out for long enough that they're going to slip down, and their top end ability to beat great teams is just not really going to be there to me. Plus the brand new coach.
Brand new coach. You also have no setters on China, which is like they lost both of their setters. You do have Gong, who's coming back, and I also think that like China is one of those countries that we always think that they're gonna fall off and something's gonna happen, and they always just continue to come back, and they just continue to produce players.
They do figure it out somehow.
Like this isn't a Brazilian men situation where it's like, oh, who's next? This is, I think, very legitimate. So it'll be just a matter of figuring that out. However, that being said, I do have them at 7.
China, okay.
Yeah.
And how about 6?
At 6, I have Poland.
Okay.
Poland, I think that Poland is like, you're missing one of the biggest pieces, I think, right now in women's volleyball, and that's Aja Voloj. I think that you are going to be able to get there and get to that position. And like, look at what we've seen from the Polish team across the past few VNLs. Really, really strong intercontinental rounds, and then kind of not necessarily fizzling out, but
2 bronze medals in a row. And the first one was without Voloj. That was all Venerska 2 years ago, who sent that team to a medal. Like, I agree with you that losing Voloj is a big deal. Absolutely. She's the best setter on the planet. But Poland has dealt without her before with this coaching staff, with this regime, and they've medaled. And this playoffs, they're playing at home. I do not see them losing a first round game in the playoffs at home.
That's fair. I don't know. Like, my gut is telling me, but like, I'm just, now you're making me question things, and I don't want to do that.
Gotcha. I'm interested to hear everyone's reactions to where I have Poland. Well, you've got them on there, so that's what's your 5th place team? What's the other team that you have losing in the quarterfinals?
Serbia.
I also have Serbia 5.
So Serbia is going to be a big one for me. They don't have Boskovic until week number 2. Still, we're going to see kind of what happens. I just think that this Serbian team still has a lot to figure out, and they really haven't been able to seal the deal in a while, right? Like their best result when you think about it is that third that they got at VNL a few years ago without Boskovic, and everyone was like, oh yeah, they're going to be so sick. They've done nothing since then. Like they've only regressed since then. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that Serbia is, and Burkhar's really mad about this in the chat. Yeah, I've just seen them regress a little bit. It will have to really be what can Boskovic bring to the table. And I just haven't really been too high on her as of late.
I think the Serbian team will be a lot better than the one that we saw last year. Terzic coming back in will help, but I have them going 8-4 in the preliminary round, and I have them losing a tight quarterfinal. I'll tell you who I have them losing to in a minute, but I agree with that take. I think Boskovic is one of those magical top 4 opposites for a reason. She has her pedigree and her resume for a reason. There's a lot of other good teams in women's volleyball, man. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of teams that can do some damage, and there's teams that can beat Serbia, even with Boskovic when she's playing reasonably well. It has happened. We've seen it. So I have Serbia getting like pretty comfortably to the playoffs at 8-4, but losing in the first round. Same with you.
Yeah, I mean, right. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if we have Boskovic. If they have Boskovic, I know they say she's going to be available for week 2, but will she play? And how well will she play?
Great question. All right, medal rounds. Who do you have finishing 4th? So winning a quarterfinal and then losing 2 games in a row to miss the podium.
That's what 4th generally is. I have USA. This is where I think USA is going to fit. For the big reason that, as I said earlier, I think that there's like definitely a few players on this long roster who were afterthoughts for Paris, who would have not only played, potentially started for other countries, right? Like this is still a very, very talented team. When you look down this roster, you still have the likes of Ali Franti, right? You still have the likes of Breon Butler, who absolutely dominated the Japanese league this year and did the same thing in the Brazilian league before that. You still have Dana Recchi. You still have Poulter. You still have Skinner. You're like, I can see not bringing. You still both Skinners, right? Madison, she still has to grow into it a little bit. And I think that right side is potentially really busy over there, especially when you're looking at like Olivia Babcock is on this list. And, like Steph Samity, who had a really, really good year. She was one of the top scorers in Japan as well. Like you still got a lot of really, really good players. Like Jenna Gray had a good year in Brazil as well too. You still have some really good pieces who aren't rookies, right? These aren't players coming out of the NCAA wide-eyed and bushy-tailed and be like, oh my God, this is what, international volleyball is like. These are players who play all around the world, right? These are players who play now in one of the best leagues in the world in League One, right? This is a really solid roster all the way through. Number one. Number two, I think that the new cycle with this American team is really going to blow a lot of smoke. Like a lot of fans are going to be going, and because there's no more hierarchy anymore. Going back to the last quad, going back to year number 1, going back to like those, even when you sent a B team, you knew you weren't getting into the A team. Right? You knew that no matter how good you did, you weren't knocking off Jordan Thompson or Jordan Larson or any one of the other Jordans that are on the team. Like that team was very set, right? And everyone knew that. This team is wide open now, baby.
Yep.
It's all birders on go. So now every single one, and every single one of these players knows that as soon as they step on the court, they need to perform, and they don't need to perform necessarily for their team, but they need to perform for their spot on the team, right?
Absolutely.
You can't for these players, they can't win an Olympic gold medal right now, but they can sure as hell ruin their chance for an Olympic gold medal right now. So that's where I'm looking at this roster. I'm looking at the quality that they have. I'm looking at where some of these athletes are having impacts and how the level of impacts that they're having overseas. And I think that the US is going to have a lower seed going in, and then they're going to upset to get into the semifinals. I think they're going to be like a 6, 7, 8 as they figure some things out, but then they're going to upset someone to get into that that semifinal game, just because they're American and you guys think you're special for some reason or another.
Because we are. I would be thrilled with that result. I think none of the things that you're saying are wrong about the bodies on the roster and the experience that is there, and that they'll be playing hungry for their own spots, and that now those like the constraints of like what had previously been there in the old regime are gone. All of that is true. I think the absolute best this team could do in this VNL is probably about 4th. I think what's more realistic in the way that
they're not winning it. Yeah, they're not winning a medal.
Definitely not. No, but I think what's more realistic in the way that they're going to approach it is like that, all that moving around, that lack of continuity, that like focusing on their own side of the net for all 12 of those matches. I see them going about 6-6 and barely missing the playoffs, and that is totally okay. If they wanted to,
you have no like trust in your own production system, eh? Like,
it's not about the result, dude. It's about like the making the VNL playoffs in 2025 is not the goal. It would be a nice little bonus.
It's not the goal, but the thing is like I can enter a race, right? And I may not be having a goal to win, but like, if I'm fast enough at like an average pace, I'm still going to do well. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that this American team is going to go out and be like, we need to finish in this spot. But I think that there's more than enough talent on this roster to be able to compete with essentially anyone out there. That's why I think like 9th is an absolutely asinine. Like, I feel like you're what's the word that girls use? Gaslighting us. You're 100% gaslighting us with that. 100%.
Not even a little bit. 4th, if you like my USA pick, you're gonna love this. 4th, I have Italy.
That makes sense to me, kind of.
I'm
gonna watch. We're gonna watch the chat blow up.
Yeah, the chat's gonna absolutely love this. Yeah, let's get ready. I have Italy finishing 4th. I have them finishing 3rd in the preliminary round at 9-3. I have Italy beating the Dominican Republic in the quarterfinal. Then I have Italy losing to one of the teams that will play for gold. And Italy is not a bronze medal match team. They just aren't. Wrong. Italy is not a bronze medal match team. Italy is a gold medal match team. They are not a bronze medal match team. So, like, if they do in fact lose in the semifinal, like I predict that they might, I do not see them winning a 3rd place match. Obviously, they're going to do well. I have them going 9-3, finishing 3rd in the preliminary round. They're going to beat the Dominican Republic. Then they're going to lose. Then they're going to not care about the bronze medal match. And they're going to finish 4th. I feel like we've seen this movie before with both the Italian men and women.
Yeah, I actually don't hate that, especially because I have Italy at 3.
Okay.
I just think that Italy is a team that cares when it matters.
Yep.
You know, they when they need to get it done, they do. And they need to get it done, they will put all of their resources into doing that. I don't think Velasco is De Giorgi, where he's just going to play the starters. I think that there's, you need to start getting into some things. I also think that there's quite a bit of talent when you're looking at some of the young Italian women as well too.
For sure.
But I just, the Italian women weren't dominant, like overly dominant that entire time leading up to the last Olympics. I think especially with the way that you've seen it with teams like Poland, who, were outstanding and pretty much undefeated. And then they played a really tough, Brazil team last year in the semis. Was that the Brazil or China? Can't really remember.
It was, I think it was Italy. They got killed. I think they beat Turkey in an insane quarterfinal. Then they got killed by Italy like the next day, and then they beat. I know they beat Brazil for bronze because Brazil went 0-2, they went 12-0 and didn't medal last year.
Yeah. That's what it was. So I think that once you get into the semifinals, anything can happen. Are we going to see a Gonu at that point? Who knows? Because you have Antropova right there, ready and waiting, or you have Nwakalor. Like you have so many options on that roster. Yeah, like I know people are going to be upset with this because, like, on paper, Italy is the best, but
yes,
like
it's not that Italy can't win the VNL. It's that we don't think that they honestly care enough to do so. Like the mentality of, it's not just like the federation not caring, which they clearly don't. It's like the team itself, like caring about the result of a tournament. It actually does make a bit of a difference when you get to medal rounds. Like a team like Poland absolutely cares about their result at a VNL. Italy's like, we're better than VNL. We have our sights set on things elsewhere. Like this team alone will be focusing way more on the World Championship later this summer. And when you're that good, you can do that. I'm not saying that they're wrong for doing that. I just don't see them.
And it's wild to me too how people are like, if last year didn't happen and we were doing this show, like, or if we go back to this show and we were doing this right now, like
before
people
last
would
VNL?
be saying like people would be saying the exact same thing about Turkey, right? Because no one, like, all of a sudden we've all forgotten about Turkey was the most dominant team in the world in 2023. And then Italy, showed up in 2024. Like these things happen. So like, yeah, we'll see. I don't see Italy winning this tournament. I see them potentially winning the World Championships, but I don't see them winning this tournament.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that would make a lot of sense. And I don't think really anybody would be that disappointed by that. Like, I don't think the federation would care that much. I don't think the players would care that much. They'd be like, all right, whatever.
I don't think the media gives two shits about VNL in Italy.
Really don't.
So yeah, like, like it's really not that big of a deal comparatively to me to oh wait, sorry, who do you have for bronze?
So for bronze, I have Poland. I have Poland doing it again for the third year in a row. I have Poland going also 9-3 in the preliminary round. I have them finishing fourth. I have them beating Serbia in a 5-set banger in a quarterfinal that they will be willed to victory by a home crowd. I really can see that, them playing in Łódź, making that big of a difference. Then I have Poland losing a kind of non-competitive semifinal, very similar to last year. Then I see them beating Italy in the bronze medal match on pure heart. Just kind of how I see that going. Poland cares more about VNL than Italy does in that head-to-head for a bronze medal. That's how I kind of see that going in Łódź.
Fair enough. For some reason, my heart just like something in my gut says they won't be there, but I don't know what's up.
So we have the same two teams at gold and silver. Pick your winner. Who wins?
I think Turkey wins.
I also have Turkey winning.
I think that this team, like someone's just said it in the chat, like they really care about it.
Yep.
They really care about winning about winning the VNL. I think that in general, Turkish volleyball is looking for a bit of a win, right? They came into 2024 flexing their muscles and being like, look, we're winning Champions League. Look, we're winning the VNL. Look, we're winning Euros. What can you do about it? Suck it. And then nothing happened after that. So yeah, I think that this Turkish team is going to really have their eyes set on winning that tournament. Maybe not early on. I think we're going to see some different lineups, and we've heard from Santarelli that he's going to switch some things up. However, I do think that further on, like once we get to the playoffs, we're going to see the team. We're going to see them going for it. I know that there was a lot of criticisms towards Santarelli last year as well too. My assumption, and this is just giving him the benefit of the doubt because he is the best coach in the world, as crowned by us. Basically, that like my assumption that there's potentially a lot of pressures from the federation, and that this year it's going to be able to be a little bit better. They're able to figure some things out a little bit more, and I think that he's going to have a game plan to make sure that they go and win.
I completely agree with you. I think the caring about winning VNL the most makes a big difference for a team with this level of talent. A lot of teams with high levels of talent get to the playoffs and what happens. But the difference when you get to medal rounds is how badly do you want it? And I completely agree with you that I think Turkey wants it. I think Turkish women's volleyball kind of needs it after the showing that their club teams put on this club season. That is another piece of it for sure. Just the general pressures of that federation and kind of the black and white thinking and no middle ground area, just the way that the people in that country think. They need a win, and I kind of think they can get it. And Brazil is Brazil, who we've both picked to finish second. They're awesome. They're Brazil. They have all the wings back. They have the setters back. They're going to be different down the middle. They'll still be Brazil. I don't see them having the top end talent and the firepower to beat Turkey in a gold medal match.
The chat right now is so fun. It's so fun. Like, there's no way. There's no way that we could possibly like satisfy everyone based on what the chat is going on right now. I just think that we've seen this Brazilian team, much like last year, go, as you said, go 12-0, miss out on a medal. They really get you close, and they just can't finish. They just build it up, and they just haven't been able to just push it over the edge. They haven't been able to find that big O yet. And
I knew you were trying to land that. There it is.
Yeah. And I really think that you're missing some core players, especially down the middle. Like, you're missing your libero and your two starting middles. That's really going to rock things. And I think that they can run that Gabi train further enough. And I think, like Rosa Maria as well on the right side, Anna Cristina. Julia Kudus, who I got roasted on TikTok about. But yeah, I just see them falling short like they always do.
They haven't won. This is mostly off the top of my head. They haven't won a major tournament since the 2021 VNL in the bubble.
Damn. A lot of medals. Like, they're always in the mix.
They're always in the mix.
They're like always top four, but yeah, they just haven't been able to, seal the deal.
Yep.
They're still
real
sitting
close.
on second base.
Like silver in Tokyo, bronze in Paris, like close at World Championships, close at VNL, but they just can't quite get it done in this current iteration. I see that continuing here. I love this chat. Our chat is popping off right now. As if you guys know any better about what's actually going to happen in this most ridiculously unpredictable tournament of the cycle. You think you guys think you know better than we do? Like, get real.
That's what this one is like is the best about it. Like, I think that, there's so many things that could happen. So many different things could go down.
Exactly. We don't even know who's going to play. We have no idea who's going to bring who and when, and I am very excited to revisit this list when the tournament is said and done to see how all these things hold up.
Yeah, our Turkish fans really hate that you have Germany so high. That's pretty funny. I do think that this video might get some good numbers because Turkish fans are going to get a hold of it.
They're going to get a hold of it, and they're either going to be like, hell yes, obviously we're going to win. We're the greatest. Or why would you ever put us at the top? Why would you jinx us like that? Now it's a disaster. There's no redeeming this tournament. It's nothing, no middle ground, as is the way with Turkish people all the time.
Yeah. So, yeah. There's people in the chat like asking questions about like why we put teams at certain numbers. Go back and watch it. It's literally go like watch the video. If you're mad about it, go find about when we're talking about those specific teams and you can see.
That's right. That's what the video is for. We hope you all enjoyed this. It was a fun little exercise. The rest of our schedule before VNL, we have our men's pre-recorded VNL preview coming out tomorrow, Thursday the 29th. We're going to do another one of these predictions video for the men at some point next week. Everett is hitting the road for a bunch of adventures starting this weekend, or I guess, I don't know, Everett, when you're now hitting the road, there's some plans changing, but you'll be in Ottawa, you'll be in Quebec City. We'll be doing a bunch of stuff on the road. So it is a good time to be a Volleyball Source fan because it's national team season and we'll be getting a lot of interviews and shows and all the stuff that you guys look forward to.
I just love all the outrage in the chat, to be honest.
Like, get triggered. Keep this energy in the main comments of the video. I want to port the entire live chat over to the main comment section. So keep that discussion going down there after the stream is over. We appreciate the viewership. Give us a thumbs up on the video as well.
Yeah, give us some likes. Yeah. Guys, come on. Even if you liked our choices, give us a like. If you don't like our choices, tell us in the chat or in the comments. After this.
Yes.
Comments. Yeah.
Yep. Get active in the comments and join the Volleyball Source Discord. I'm pretty sure there's a link in the description. At least I'll make sure that there is. And we will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.
Peace.